So what's going on, everyone? Setting a new goal for the gym, but before I hit that, I wanted to mention it seems like Bitcoin's still doing what it's doing. It's ranging between a normal like $7,000-8,000 range up and down, which is kind of what you expect. There's a lot of charts out there that talk about Bollinger Bands and how that kind of it's a precursor to a big movement. And I'm still thinking it's possible that in September we hit 146 to 150, maybe a little bit more. You look at global M2, and that's kind of what you see it tracking on like a 10 to 12 week lead. So I'm pretty excited about that. Other than that, nothing really exciting going on with that stuff. Everything is doing exactly what you expect in the summer. So it should be a pretty wild end of the year for not just Bitcoin, but stocks. You know, curious about some things going on with bonds, just the regular economy in general. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But a couple weeks ago, I hit the 315 deadlift for a new PR. I think that was my last video. I talked a little bit about that. Did not deadlift last week. Today's Monday of a new week. It's really the last week before I go on a trip, so it's not really going to be that helpful, but I'll go slightly heavy. Just it won't be a max session. At least I said that last time too. We'll have to see. But I decided that in the end, I am going to go for 405. 405 is the next step up from 315. If you consider, you know, each plate on each side is 45 pounds. So it's like a 90 pound bump up, which is quite a bit. Because I did struggle a little bit, even hitting 275 for the first time. Took, what, 5 sessions? And I was doing, back then I was doing them once a month. And so it was kind of a long time in between doing sessions, but every session was to try to go as heavy as I could for the most part. And then it took me 2 tries because I did 315 right after hitting 275, and that wasn't moving. Then I tried 315 the next time, got it to my knees, and then I finally hit it. And I didn't, like I mentioned in the last video, I didn't expect to hit it that day. But another 90 pounds is a pretty big jump. But in the end, it's only 29% more weight than what I'm moving right now. And if I set the goal by the end of the year, that should give me enough time to be able to do it without rushing it, without, you know, risking injury, without doing it wrong. Giving myself enough time in between. So what's happening is I'm going to basically set a schedule starting September. So I'm still deadlifting in August, just not regularly because I'll be going on vacation. But come September, I got a goal where I can actually try to hit 405 early November. And if I don't get it, I can back off, take a whole week off, and then try it again and try to ramp up to it by the end of the year. The only difficulty that I may or may not have mentioned the last time was I'll be, you know, on a 2-month cut for September and October, which might make that November target a little rough, a little hard, maybe not attainable. We'll see. Beyond 405, who knows? I don't really know if I want to try 495 next. That's getting into the threshold where it's getting kind of serious. I mean, I'm serious about it now, but you know, a lot of people can deadlift 315. A lot of people can deadlift 405, and people can do it that don't consider themselves power lifters. Once you start getting close to the 500 mark, I mean, that takes a lot of time, dedication, structure. So I'm not sure. You know, I'm 45. I just started deadlifting when I turned 45, so it's not something that I'm looking to hit any records on or compete in. Just going to try my best. So I got the schedule. I actually used Grok for most of this. It gave me a horrible schedule to start with. Bases it a lot off of its learning models, so stuff that people post on Twitter, Reddit, some web searches, and it just wasn't. The math actually didn't work out either. Plus, I tweaked it a little bit because I wanted it to mainly focus on using 45s and 25s, and then just to hit, you know, certain different mid weights if we have to do 15s and 35 plates. So the 4 common plates, and it's kind of struggled with some of the math, believe it or not. I had to correct it on math AI, so it still has a little ways to go, but it was pretty helpful in structuring that. Wanted to kick out into the 5 or 10 pound plate things just to make it a little bit easier, and structure in a way where it's one heavy week and then a light week and then a heavy week and then a light week. And I think that's going to work for quite a while. And then when I try to go for a max, taking that next week off, I think that'll work out. We'll give it a shot and give it a good try and see how that goes. So I'm going to do a little mini series in this little gym and Bitcoin podcast that I do. And I'll just label them every time I post it. So if you could give 2 craps about me deadlifting, you could just skip them. Or if that's all you care about, you can look for those. But I'll try to do somewhat regular updates on my heavy days. So maybe twice a month, more than likely probably just once a month, or just when I feel like it. to mix them on in. But I'm pretty excited. I think I can do 405. I will say when I hit 315, it felt like the biggest reason why I was able to do that wasn't so much strength. I know I'm gaining strength. I've been working a lot on core, which is kind of the weak point of my lift. So I've been doing some things to help that, but really I think it's technique. Technique is really what's helped me the most overall, because doing it right not only is for an injury perspective, because I don't want to get injured, especially at my age, because recovery would take forever. But on top of it, it's the technique which makes it the most efficient of a pull. So if I'm doing it right and I'm doing it correctly, it makes it easier to lift heavier weights. You do it wrong and you're fighting it. You're trying to lift incorrectly, and so it's a little bit more of a struggle. So it's a two benefit goal right there. So I'm pretty excited about all that. I will take you guys along for the ride.